Welcome to the KOSEC Show. Join the KOSEC KODARI Securities team as they share their insights on the Australian share market, discussing some of their best performing companies, macroeconomic news from offshore, including local domestic news, foreign exchange, as well as commodities. If you have any questions regarding the share market, our phone lines are open. You can dial in on 1300 854 151 or alternatively, email info@kosec.com.au. Exclusively on this show, each guest will reveal their hottest stock pick. For more information on any of the topics discussed, go to kosec.com.au. The information featured in this program is general in nature and does not take into account your personal circumstances, needs, or objectives. Guests appearing on the program may own or have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.
Afternoon investors, my name is Will Brownlee and welcome to the KOSEC Show, where we discuss all things relevant in the market this week. Macroeconomic data, currencies and commodities, top performance of the week that was, and of course, our hottest stock picks for the week to come. Before I go any further, please allow me to introduce my investment panel and resident experts in the market. To the left, the ever wonderful Miss Caroline Wong. Is there a doctor in the house? The doctor of maths himself, Dr. Adam Chernikowski. And of course, back as always, the ever mystic Mr. Louis Mossman. What an exciting week we are having, team. We started off strong. We had a slight wobble at around the midway point of the week. We had a bit of a decline. We have finished off even stronger, and I believe close to, if not on, our all-time highs. And what a day it has been. Lots of great stocks, lots to unpack. We've also got some very special guests coming in for the second section of the show. They will be live, and they will be talking to you about something that's been on the tip of everyone's tongues, everyone's minds. I'm going to give you guys the rest of the section to think about what they might be talking about, but it's going to be exciting, so make sure for our viewers they tune in. But let's go straight to Mr. Mossman. Let's talk about the roadblock we had this week.
Yes.
Because there was a wobble. We did have a wobble this week, and that
course.
came from the US. It wasn't Trump, but it was, of course, the inflation rates, etc., the Fomc meetings, and this anticipation of a potential rate hike.
Yes, of course.
Talk us through that.
So the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee, of course, met this week and headed by Jerome Powell. And we got the news that I think I've been building up every week. We've been talking about interest rates, gold, and inflation. And then finally, we've got some action. So most of these Federal Reserve meetings, and much like other central banks around the world, we've been pretty quiet, really. We're waiting for talks about tapering. We're talking about thinking about tinkering. But this week we had action.
Yes.
So the Federal Reserve this week announced that their expectations are instead for their first rate cut to not be in 2024, instead to have two in 2023. So they're bringing forward their own expectations of an increase in the cash rate in the US. Now, of course, that's the first central bank in the world, really, to do so. Or the most important central bank anyway.
What about Brazil? Because Brazil's raising.
Yes, of course. Well, the most important, I mean, if you look at Europe, if you look at England, if you look at Australia, Japan.
I'm being facetious,
of course,
obviously.
Of course. Yeah. So that really moved markets. And I mean, everyone's listening to that meeting. So that's the main news, an increase by 2 rate hikes by 2023. And this was a few comments by Jerome Powell. Following that, he did want to calm the markets because that's what the central banks have all been about right now. Giving their projections, making statements, but really trying to play them down, calm the markets, make sure everyone knows everything's stable, secure, the economy is progressing well. So he said following his statement, you can think of this meeting that we had as about a talking about meeting, if you like.
Yeah.
I now suggest that we retire that term, which has been served its purpose. So he did want to say that to take his projections with a big grain of salt. Now, what that grain of salt is, it's always up to interpretation. But of course, I think their first projections were 2024. Now it's 2 in 2023. So I think the grain of salt is expect more changes. And of course, we've seen inflation jump up over the last few months and weeks.
Gold went down, of course.
So if it keeps on going up, these inflationary measures, then expect more changes to their projections themselves. And that's what I wanted to lead into. So how did the market react, of course?
Well, of course, the brown stuff hit the whirly thing. And in a big way, we saw a big sell-off in our own markets. Well, in the US first, and then, of course, our own market.
Yeah, of course.
But we rebounded very nicely out the back end of that.
So the first thing that, of course, reacted, and this is tied directly into money markets, is bond yield. So the US 10-year yield obviously rose, so I think it was by 5 basis points. So it rose following that that statement and the decisions by the Federal Reserve. So that's obviously that increase in interest rates that the bond markets are expecting. Now, of course, that inverse relationships we have between stocks and bonds. We did see stocks fall off across the US and across equity markets around the world, and so is in Australia. But it wasn't really a huge day. It was 0.5% across most major indexes, not too much more. So I think the market was a little bit taken aback by it, but I don't think it's a huge concern right now. Not yet, anyway. And then, of course, the third major thing was the price of gold, the US dollar, and the Australian dollar.
All the repercussions of the back end of that.
We saw a very, very strong US dollar index. It jumped. We saw a strong pullback in the Australian dollar.
Which is on a big low at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, of course. It's been downtrending since its highs. It's been hovering about 77 cents, and now it's pulled back even further, just following that inverse relationship. And then finally, we have gold. So gold obviously took a tumble as well. It's an asset that actually doesn't yield any returns, whereas when interest rates rise, you have assets that now yield more returns. So gold pulls back.
Because that wasn't the only thing that happened. Because, we're all focusing on this, but there was quite a bit of other data that kind of came out. I know over in the UK, we have broached a potential free trade agreement, with the UK, and that is sort of it's an initial sort of understanding. Is that right, Dr. Adam Chirikowski?
Very much so.
Yep.
So they have signed and that they will be wanting to sign the paper.
So they've signed something. So we've got Jerome Powell talking about it, and we've got a free trade agreement, which is let's agree that we like the idea of having free, which is pretty weird. That's like saying let's agree to be friends.
Yeah, it is pretty serious. The actual document is something like 700 pages. With all the details they have to figure out. But we already know quite a bit of what will be happening in that agreement. So basically, looking at it very positively, so what's happening is that we will be able to have free trade in the sense that Australia can sell products to UK and they can go into UK without any tax whatsoever. For 99% of all products. So that sounds really, really great. However, there is a small catch there. Some products UK doesn't want are completely floating the market.
Yes.
So on some products there will be a cap. So and most significantly, farmers were concerned. So there are certainly some caps. So that will be for beef and lamb. So initially you have for beef, it starts with 35,000 and will go to 111 kiloton over 10 years. And then for the following, linear growth of those numbers. And then the next 5 years, it will go to 170. And you have, for lamb, it goes from 25 to 75 over 10 years, and then it jumps up over the next 5 years to 25. And then after that 15 years, then it's unlimited and they can sell as much as they want. But these numbers are somehow adjusted according to what will be the expected amount. And then we have the others one, they are quite a little bit quicker. So we have dairies overall, so cheese and milks, and that is 5 years. And that was, so we have this 24 kilotons immediately is duty free. That will increase to 48 over 5 years. And then after that, it will be unlimited. And we have for non-cheese dairy products, that will be also increasing.
So good thing at the end of the day.
So maybe let me just talk about numbers here. So overall, we just see that over a period of time, we will be having a completely free trade agreement. So I want to put things in a perspective because what is 15 years? So let's compare, for example, to US.
Yes.
So the free trade agreement we have with US, there were even some of the products that in the agreement that was over 18 years.
Yeah, right.
So it's not unusual that you have agreements where this kind of things just takes time and gradually is evolving as markets adjust. But I mean, for the US, that agreement goes quite a bit back. So
yeah, I think the main reason for that is just to make sure that distortions to the supply and demand don't hit markets unexpectedly straight away. So it is important that they have these contingencies in place to maintain, competitive
absolutely.
space.
So that's not all in this agreement. So also, something that UK was very interested in, they like when people from UK they want to come to Australia, they can get.
Oh, really? So immigration is.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they can get a visa for 1 year, and then there was this rule like you can extend it for another year if you work at a farm for 88 days.
Yeah, that's right. You're gonna do the farm working.
So and that was like that would be removed completely.
Very good.
So that's something that UK was very interested in. And in addition to that, you had to be at most 30 years. That will be moved to 35 years. And in addition to that, it can be extended up to 3 years, that visa. So a lot of good things for people from UK.
So all pretty positive.
Yeah,
all pretty positive.
So it's really like encouraging collaboration between the countries. So very positive. And there was another thing also like recognition of professional qualifications will also be easier between the countries. So there are a lot of really good things that will like overall improve the collaboration between the countries.
Bonds are strong between us and the UK.
Yeah, very much so. So I mean, if I should say in the bigger picture, maybe it's like UK is maybe not the biggest country that we trade with, but it is very significant. It's also it sends really a signal where we want to be heading towards in the future, I think.
Very good. So, US is looking quite good. We've had some inflation data come out. We've got a good trade with the UK right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a short break. If you do have any questions for our panel, please feel free to take a video and email it through to info@kosec.com.au. Everyone who does will receive a copy of our book, Stock Market Success, Retailing in Dymocks for $39.95, or a magazine selling in news agencies Australia-wide for $19.95. In the meantime, like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and we'll be back with your currency and commodity overview as well as our special guest stars.
As kids, we were active. We were creative. We questioned all things. We celebrated everything. We took risks. We had no limits. We had dreams. Our imagination helped us solve problems and create new possibilities. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions." We are in an ever-changing world filled with fear and uncertainty. Don't let that change the inner child within. As Walt Disney said, imagination has no age and dreams are forever. KOSEC is here to help build your dreams and create possibilities. Secure your success with KOSEC KODARI Securities.
Throughout time, humans have relied upon innovation to advance and evolve, using new and improved methods, having meaningful impact on society and industries. In order to advance, ideas were transformed into new products and services. The stock market has also evolved through innovation. Innovation has been key to KOSEC's success. Using artificial intelligence and machine learning, KOSEC has streamlined processes to bring better opportunities to clients. Opportunities that might have otherwise been missed. Join a company that innovates to bring clients the best opportunities and service. Invest with a solid strategy. Invest with confidence. Invest with KOSEC. KODARI Securities.
How do you get the highest returns in the stock market on a consistent basis? Obsessed with this idea, Michael KODARI forms KOSEC, KODARI Securities. He seeks, in his own words, a revolutionary investment strategy based on better information and knowledge. Wealth begins with better knowledge, becomes his motto. He seeks to identify and accurately pick the next top-performing stocks on the ASX. He seeks for consistency. Michael KODARI creates a unique stock market filtering system he names Lotus Blue, named after a flower that blooms just once. Because in investing, timing is everything. See how accurate KOSEC stock picks are. Get a free 7-day access to Lotus Blue today. If you want the KOSEC investment edge, you know what you have to do. Call KOSEC now or visit kosec.com.au and take advantage of the insights he reserves for his clients.
Do you follow currencies? Want to know how the Aussie dollar is travelling? Do you love commodities? Do you see gold prices rising? Do you see more demand for oil? Do you see the world economy growing? Get the latest in-depth analysis and discussion on commodities every week from real traders. Get real insights only on the KOSEC Show.
Welcome back. Let's talk about currencies and commodities, all things that shine, sparkle, fold, and make the world go round. And I am joined today by Michael and Dave, joining us from Morpheus, and they're members of the Blockchain Association, and they are going to go deep, and I mean they are going to go deep down the rabbit hole of crypto. You asked for it, our investors have asked for it, all of you really want to see it. I'm excited, Mr. Mossman's excited, Caroline and Dr. Tarkovsky are less excited, so we check them out. We've got you two in here, and this is what a lot of people are tuning in for. I love to talk about it. Now, you guys aren't speculators. You actually know a lot about what's going on. At the end of the show, we're going to tell you exactly what you predict that Bitcoin is going to get to. No, I'm joking. We're not going to do that at all. Tell us a little bit about yourselves and what it is that you do.
Yeah, so basically we run a company called Morpheus Analytics.
Yep. Just come close to that mic so everyone can hear us. Is that sensitive? Yep.
Yes, no, we run a company called Morpheus Analytics, which helps with business intelligence services and education in the blockchain and crypto space.
Oh, brilliant. And how did you guys get involved in that? Are you just an information provider about the blockchain, or do you write for the blockchain, or what's the sort of the deal that you guys have?
I think that's a really good question, Will. We kind of started off about 5 years ago, looking at kind of early stage startups and venture capital.
Yep.
And then this was around the 2016-17 space. Right while we were starting up, I started noticing the blockchain and crypto industry, and I looked at Bitcoin and I saw it and I was like, this looks really interesting. I thought I want to give this a crack, but I spent about 6 months researching it before I even went in and actually did a trade. Then after doing a lot of research, I was like, I think there's something going on here, and made my first investment in 2016, and then then rode the 2017 bull run.
Yeah.
And
they got wrecked.
That basically ripped us straight away out of the early stage startup space into focusing on crypto.
So do you come from a background in programming or any sort of background in engineering? Because that's where a lot of the people in the crypto space come from.
True. So both of us are from a fairly heavy technology background.
I think you guys should just come right up close there, just so
running technology projects, kind of post-merger integration kind of things, and in the financial services industry. So we're we've been around that periphery for a long time.
Now, talk about your exposure to the Blockchain Association overseas. You guys do some work stuff overseas, writing white papers and stuff like that. What is a white paper, and what exactly you guys do in regards to that?
That's a good question, actually. Basically, what we focus on...
This is not scripted.
Oh, no, definitely not scripted. No, we'll see. What we got involved with about a year ago, I would say.
Yeah, about a year ago.
Yeah, so basically what happened was they put together a committee at this association in the US. And what they asked us to do and participate in is a crypto adoption paper for the government to go to the US Congress and senators to educate them on the blockchain and crypto. So that was about 180 pages that was written there. We're one of 6 authors, I would
Yep.
say. So that's been 12 months in the making. It just got released last month.
Okay.
Oh, congratulations.
So it was sent to the government
Yeah.
last month,
Yep,
right?
yeah. And one of the big advocates over there is Senator Loomis, who's from Wyoming.
Yes.
And she's a big advocate, right? And what happened was we put it in her hands, and she's looking at it now.
Right.
Understand, so get some feedback from there. But there's a lot of other people we're giving it to who are going to look at it and go, I want some education. They're going to read it and come back. And it's really a big deal.
180 pages doesn't seem like that much when you think about what we're packing
Trying
into
to keep
that.
it simple for them.
Trying to keep it simple.
Well,
It's
that
like-
was deliberate.
Because I've spoken to some guys before about crypto, and mate, they just nerd out on me, and I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, I just end up nodding and just smiling, which I'm feeling like I'm doing a little bit with you guys here. I'm just nodding and smiling along here. But what is it that? Talk to me a little bit about what it is that you guys are actually involved in really doing on a day-to-day basis. What is it that you guys do?
Yeah, so I mean, the functions that we do now in Morpheus Analytics is we've obviously got a data intelligence service where we provide dashboards and research. We provide some of that research to the Government Blockchain Association.
So
And-
that sorry, I'll just jump in just for our viewers. So that's something like maybe a KOSEC trading account where you can actually view all the research, or a research
Yeah,
platform.
sort of like that.
Okay, yeah.
But it's more interactive where you
Okay.
can kind of interact with the dashboards.
And then you're affiliated with the Government Blockchain Association,
Yes.
so you do research for them as well.
We do, and we contribute to papers, and we've also done a joint venture with them to present our dashboard. So that's going live within the next couple of weeks.
So Morpheus could be the go-to sort of thing for.
Look, there's a lot of data providers out there for crypto. You know, there's Glassnode, there's Coinmetrics, but those are very, very technical services.
Yeah, right.
Our kind of slant is more to make the data accessible to people and make it easy for people to understand so they can actually use it. A lot of these metrics are extremely, unless you're a quant trader, they're probably not that useful. So, we're trying to make it accessible.
Yeah.
When it comes to crypto as a whole, because you say you've sent a paper to the US government, that seems quite significant, but when a lot of people think about cryptocurrency, they think about it in disturbing currency as it is right now. So obviously the government is a big part of the backing of major fiat currencies around the world.
Yep.
How do you see their response to people trying to educate them about cryptocurrency? Because it is quite common that the banks, the financial system, and governments are very hesitant about it, and I suppose skeptical of cryptocurrency and what it can bring. How is their response to you? How, how do they interact?
I think that's a really good question, and to answer that,
I'm going to turn to Michael.
I would talk about the some of the elements of the executive summary of our paper, which talked about the history of money.
Yeah, right.
Now, when you look at the way money evolved, the first money was created around 700 AD, and then, but prior to that, the first concept in financial services was accounting. That was created probably 3000 BC, right? Then money existed 700 AD, and then banking was created around 1600.
Yeah.
Now, the key thing is, in each of these concepts, most governments didn't jump immediately to use these innovations.
Yes.
They actually stood back and waited and see how it affected things. And I think that's what governments are doing at the moment.
They're just waiting to see. Yeah.
So they understand what the impacts are. Because if they start regulating it before they know what the impacts are, then it's not going to be effective.
So then what do you think of El Salvador? Because recently they've jumped the gun and put their necks out, especially as a smaller country, saying, here we go, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin especially is legal tender. What do you think of that?
Oh, it's fantastic. Look, for them, they're in South America. Their currency wasn't worth anything. They're using the US dollar anyway.
Keeping in mind also, just on the back end, Brazil has raised their interest rates this week for the third time in a row or something. They've raised by 75 basis points. So that ties into why El Salvador was probably just going, no, we can't do it. We've got to find something else. Sorry, continue.
No, that's right. They actually want to innovate.
Yeah.
They want to bring the best and brightest to that country. That's what they're saying at the moment. Now, time will tell how that will play out, okay? We need to be honest and look at that and be subjective. But what we're seeing is that they've got their people over there to draft the legislation on Bitcoin. It was done very quickly. And it's now sent waves across the world to come and say, come to there to work in the IT industry and produce the best innovation that possibly can.
I suppose you've got to take a risk if you're going to be the one to first step into that space. Who do you think is going to be the first major developed nation to step into that cryptocurrency space, because it's been very quiet from all the major economies, and all the central banks around the world are saying, yeah, we're looking at doing our own, but they haven't really made any major announcements. And 2 weeks ago as well, the American Bankers Association said something along the lines of the risks of crypto are severe and the benefits are unknown.
Well,
that was a very broad quote.
Well, of course they would say that.
Yeah.
But I think so what you may not know is back during the 2017 bull run, Japan actually made Bitcoin legal tender.
Yeah. Wow.
So that's already happened.
Oh, really?
The difference between the Japanese model and the El Salvador model is in Japan, Bitcoin can be legal tender. So businesses can accept Bitcoin.
Yep.
In El Salvador, businesses must accept Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yep. So that's the difference there.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So it's sort of like, okay. Wow. So you actually have to accept someone else to go up and... Interesting. That's an interesting kind of concept. I mean, let's get it now, because you guys are brilliant in terms of the analytics behind it. But let's talk what investors are really interested in. Do you think this is going to be huge in the future, and why? Michael, do you think this is going to be the next big thing, and why do you think that?
Yes, it depends on the use case conversation, right? So let's start with Bitcoin. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, at the moment, Bitcoin's got a limited supply of 21 million, okay? It's like digital gold in that kind of description, okay? So everyone's drawn to that to invest as an alternative in their portfolio. Then when you start drilling down into the other coins like Ethereum and Ripple, right, they've got different use cases, okay? So, but the first one will be Bitcoin, okay? And that's what the future will look like. And then everything will feed off that. And that's how you simplify the conversation. At the moment, it can get complicated. If you keep it that simple, that's how it goes.
And just to drill down on what Michael said there, I think what it's touching on, there is a use case out there already for blockchain, which is Bitcoin. It effectively is a store of value. It effectively ties together the three concepts of accounting, currency, and banking in one technology.
Yep.
And it's done its job. But next we're going to see other applications, but delivering on an enterprise scale. At the moment, we haven't seen blockchain deployed on an enterprise scale.
Yeah.
And that's essentially when we start reaching that point, that's when it's going to be going ballistic.
Yeah. When we look at Bitcoin, of course, that's going to be the first one, right? Because they've got first mover advantage, just like any industry, right? Now, as all of these new coins, and there seems to be ones every week, really, that's seeming to take over. And of course, is there anything inherently special about Bitcoin other than its first mover advantage? Because it's my understanding.
Can Doge or Shibu come in?
We'll talk this before we came in.
No.
Don't burst my pipe dreams about Shibu, mate. Don't burst my pipe dreams.
Look, I wouldn't encourage or discourage anyone, but I think the key thing with Bitcoin is it is probably the most decentralized of all the cryptocurrencies. Each of as you go down the layers, I mean, Ethereum is great, but you could challenge whether it is truly decentralized because it is so controlled by consensus and Vitalik, who created that currency, right? And then you have Ripple, which is run by the Ripple Corporation, right? So, but Bitcoin's the only true implementation of blockchain at this point.
Okay, wow. So it is the only
People could debate that, but I think it has proven that use case fully.
Yeah. So I noticed recently, I think this ties in well with that. Ethereum 2.0 is looking to come in to be implemented in an event known as the docking later this year, right? So when I thought about it, like, it's decentralized, so the network runs this cryptocurrency, but who's creating 2.0? Is it a consensus? Is that network of people? There has to be a central body there governing that 2.0. So how decentralized is it when there's that other body?
Foundation. So it's a foundation piece, right? That's how these things are set up compared to a Ripple. It's a lot different. And also it's a foundation for Bitcoin too. So Ethereum's setting up on the same way, right? So these people are getting together and say, we've got to improve this network, this blockchain. So they've worked out 2.0. Still work to be done on that. There's a lot of debate on that, and Dave and I talk about this a lot, from that point of view. But from our point of view, when it comes to Bitcoin, it's very secure.
Yes.
From that point of view, it's proven to do that. And also it makes it easier for people to buy for that reason, coming to the market, where Ethereum's still going on this journey, and its use case is a little bit behind.
Yep.
So at the moment, I think Bitcoin's proven itself.
Yeah.
There's still more to go.
So, I mean, you guys, the more and more we learn about you guys aren't speculative investors here. You're not people that just whacked $1,000 into crypto, made a lot of money, and now you think you're geniuses. You guys are legitimate professionals in this, and this is what you guys do full-time, write and work around this for the Government Blockchain Association. So, I don't get to ask this question to many sophisticated people like yourself very often, but if you had to invest in a coin that wasn't Bitcoin, what would it be and why?
Do you want to start that one, Dave?
Why don't we pick one each?
I was going to go with one each because I want to pitch you guys against each other.
So for me,
Shiba or Doge?
Probably neither of those. But for me, look, and there's probably a lot more exciting projects out there, but I really like Ripple.
Okay.
There is an element of risk in it at the moment, as there's a court case with the SEC with Ripple at the moment. But I think they'll ultimately resolve that one way or the other, whether they settle or whether the case is decided.
Yep. What makes Ripple different than
Ripple
Ethereum,
really
Bitcoin?
actually is currently being used at an enterprise scale by central banks.
Okay,
and
so
Ripple is working with many central banks to create their own central bank digital currency.
Okay.
So it's whilst there are competitors cropping up, Ripple's been working on this stuff since 2012.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They've got 8-9 years. You know,
Right, of course. And when you say from a speculation point of view, because obviously if it was an investment, or would you say that more as the future of cryptocurrency to be one of the largest ones? Would you say return-wise?
So the reason why I'd say speculative is because of the court case. I mean,
It's just the court case,
If the court case were to be lost by Ripple, then that would be very bad. I have a positive view on the situation, so that's why I like Ripple.
Okay, perfect. We like Ripple. So we've got Ripple. Michael, what do we got?
All right. We've got Ethereum that sits there, right? Number 2 at the moment, okay? And it's an application layer, build a lot of technology, okay? I see some issues with it. It's got some gaps in the technology side. I think there should be a competitor to it, right? EOS was there a couple of years ago, right? Now, they're spending their money, I would say, pretty poorly and how they built that project. But I think Polkadot is coming into that frame.
I was going to say, we're going to start the debate, Cardano
with
or
caution, I say.
Okay.
Now, they've got to monitor the situation, how the developers are going to join the community, right? How it's going to be funded, how is it going to be consistent. Got to keep monitoring that over time. So it's still very speculative.
Yep.
So you've got to monitor the situation, monitor the transactions on the blockchain, see how it's evolving.
Yep.
Just keep on looking at the fundamentals. That's what I always say. And that's what we do a lot of, is making sure there's always a fundamental assessment. Even on small stuff, even like Pancake Swap. You've got to mention that too.
And I'll ask the same question. What makes it so special? What makes it so different?
It's got a good following behind it. It's been some decent developers come into the community and want to work on it, right? Yep. And that's a very important thing, right? Once you get the best and brightest in, right?
Yep.
Then you start thinking, right, there might be a future here that can go long term, right? And compete with Ethereum in 5 years' time.
Yeah.
But again, it's early days and you must monitor the situation very closely.
Very good. Michael and Dave, thank you so much for coming in today. So that's commodities, currencies, and the events that shape them, as well as a big dive into crypto. Now, all investments should be treated with a degree of caution. Please be aware that any investment into things like cryptocurrency do run the risk of capital loss. If you want to hear more about cryptocurrency, our phone lines are currently open. Are you a bull or a bear? Let us know. And like, subscribe, hit that bell. We're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to look at the best and worst performers in Australia.
The world changed this year. So did the stock market. Is it time for a change in your portfolio? Invest with confidence. Invest with a solid strategy. Invest with KOSEC, KODARI Securities.
RBA has cut interest rates to a record low of 0.1%. Returns in saving accounts are now shockingly low. We have never seen these conditions before. The good news is that the stock market benefits from low interest rates and historically has outperformed property or any other asset class. KOSEC uses a unique stock market filtering system called Lotus Blue, which helps generate solid profits for clients. During COVID in April 2020, KOSEC recommended Kogan, which went up 340%. went. In June, KOSEC recommended Saracen Minerals, which went up 23%. In October, KOSEC recommended Nickel Mines, which went up 33%. If you want your money working overtime, you need to know what stocks to buy and when to sell. That's where KOSEC can help. With no barriers to entry, it's just simple investing. Build wealth with a concrete investment strategy. Go to kosec.com.au. Get a free 7-day access to Lotus Blue and receive our top 8 stock picks today.
Throughout time, humans have relied upon innovation to advance and evolve, using new and improved methods, having meaningful impact on society and industries. In order to advance, ideas were transformed into new products and services. The stock market has also evolved through innovation. Innovation has been key to KOSEC's success. Using artificial intelligence and machine learning, KOSEC has streamlined processes to bring better opportunities to clients. Opportunities that might have otherwise been missed. Join a company that innovates to bring clients the best opportunities and service. Invest with a solid strategy. Invest with confidence. Invest with KOSEC. KODARI Securities.
Let's move on to our next section now and have a look at what the best and worst performers for the week were. Were there tears shed this week? Who lost money? And who has Christmas come early for? Let's go over to Caroline, our queen of charts.
Yes.
What are we looking at this week?
Yep. ResMed, the sleep apnea and respiratory conditions player, that one was up 10% this week, so that was quite remarkable.
ResMed all-time high as well, yeah. So
I think Pro Medicals as well, PME. The worst performer this week was materials, down 3% this week. And there are a few factors at play here. So China, at the start of the week, they said that they will be releasing supply to curb the rally in commodity prices. As a result, we saw BHP tumbling about 5% this week. Just this morning, Morgans has also placed a hold rating on BHP on the back of lofty market valuations. And as we touched earlier upon in the first sector, gold did not fare too well. So Newcrest Mining was about down 6% this week, but that was very normal.
They got really hammered this week. I mean, obviously, market optimism up, and we saw gold.
Yeah, but that's normal, so nothing to be afraid of.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, we have had a video question email in, and we are going to go to that right now.
Hey guys, Dan here. I'm a big fan of the show, always listen to the podcast. So just wanted to send in a quick question. I was wondering, just with the latest COVID-19 cases that have been popping up, if there's any key healthcare players that you guys would be recommending to keep an eye on, just to see what's going to be happening in the next 6 months. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
There we go. So a video question from one of our viewers. He was asking about healthcare companies.
Yes.
Which are the best healthcare companies to invest in now? Certainly not a dumb idea to be going into healthcare. I think that's a relatively stable sort of place. Let's go around the room and we'll pick one what our favourite one is and let's go. So we might start off with Mr. Mossman.
Yes, so one that when I heard the question that I thought about is, where's an exciting space to be in, right? Where do you really want to be? And I was thinking research new products, commercializing new products, and that is, of course, Clinuvel for pharmaceuticals. So they do a lot of the research and commercialization behind genetic new healthcare products. So in particular, at the moment, they do genetic skin disease and skin disorders. But of course, they're in that exciting space where they're continually innovating new products rather than rolling out the same.
So the CUV, right? CUV, Clinuvel Pharmaceuticals, ticker code CUV.
That's exactly right. That's my one anyway.
That's pretty exciting because that thing can move. I think that was up 5 or 6% today.
I think it was upwards of 7.
Yeah,
today
it was. That thing can
that's
really
what I mean.
move in a positive direction, and it's still a long way down. It reached a high of $60-something September last year. So that thing can really push pretty fast. I mean, it's certainly not a slow lumbering thing. That's for sure and certain. So skin disorders, Clinuvel Pharmaceutical. You think that's the healthcare company to be in? Let's go over to the doctor himself. Which healthcare company are you? You're not a doctor of health, obviously, doctor of maths, but we'll ask you about health anyway. Which healthcare company do you like at the moment?
Well, so one of the bigger ones, so Caroline already mentioned, so CSL, I think has quite a bit of potential to go up. So, I mean, if you look at it all-time high, that was roughly 340, and now it's about a 305. So there is quite a bit of uptrend there, space there, and also you can kind of see the trends that we have been seeing. Like it had been moving very slowly downwards. First up during the pandemic, then down, and then it went down all the way like to 243, and now it has been moving quite steadily since then, upwards, slowly but steadily. And I think just there is more space for growth there.
Perfect. So that's CSL. I think it's almost un-Australian to not have that in someone's portfolio. And of course, CSL, great, absolutely great company. Let's go over to Capital off. Caroline, what are you looking at? Why do you like it? What's your pick for our viewer?
So mine doesn't start with a C. Mine starts with an A. It's called Ansell Limited, ticker code ANN. So the reason why I like Ansell is because the current macroeconomic conditions is just a perfect environment for Ansell to thrive in. So Ansell works in rubber gloves. So it has 2 divisions, industrial and healthcare. And it's just perfect for them to thrive because in healthcare conditions, they do like rubber gloves, surgical gloves.
Masks. Do they do masks? I think they do masks as well.
Personal protective equipment. So when you go for surgery, you need to be dressed in those surgical equipment and attire properly. And that is suitable for COVID-19 because now we all have increased awareness of health. We're now more careful. And also for the industrial space, it's perfect for Ansell because you need to wear proper workplace equipment just so that you prevent workplace injury.
I think that's a business that makes a lot of sense when we think about it. And so COVID, everyone's using protective equipment, hospital workers, everybody, even your people on the streets using it. And industrial, I mean, it's very clear that there's an industrial spike here in Australia. In fact, all around Ansell could benefit from that. So we've got Ansell, ticker code ANN. We've got CSL, ticker code CSL. And of course, we have, what was the last one?
Clinuvel
Pharmaceuticals, ticker code CUV. All right, ladies and gentlemen, back by popular demand, we took it to the streets today. Let's find out what they're saying. This is Street Walk, Street Talk.
Welcome to Street Walk, Street Talks. I'm in our beautiful city of Sydney, asking people about the market. If they had $1 million, is there a certain business or sector that you'd be more inclined to put that $1 million into?
Healthcare and medical devices.
Yeah. And why is that?
Because that's very close to me. I've been working on that from last 2 years to develop something around tracking the immune system and infectious diseases.
Right.
So yes, definitely. $1 million, I'll invest in that.
Right. That sounds so interesting. Are you a CEO or are you a researcher or?
One of the founders.
Founder. Okay, great. Since you're in the space of healthcare, what do you think of the vaccines that are rolling out? Which one would you get? Would you get any?
I have no idea. I've not researched a lot into that. I have no idea. I'll just go by the popular opinion at this point in time. No idea.
Just asking people, if they had $1 million, what sector or business would they put that $1 million into today?
The home sector, apart from mortgage.
Oh yeah, okay. Recently, COVID vaccinations, they've said that they're rolling out to, I believe, 60 plus instead of 50 plus. What does that make you feel about the vaccinations, and would you be getting one?
Good question. I guess it kind of puts a harsh light on AstraZeneca. It's probably a better vaccine than people give it credit for. But everyone seems to get Pfizer. They think it's the better one. So I think unless you've got a real problem where you shouldn't get AstraZeneca, then go get it. My parents have had it. A lot of people I know have had it and they haven't had any problems.
Right.
But if you're due for Pfizer, go get that.
Great. What sector, what business would you put that $1 million into?
At this moment, property.
Property? Yeah. Great. Would you buy? Would it be your own property, or would you invest into a business that has lots of exposure to different property?
Maybe exposure, different properties. Yeah.
Great. One more question. I just wanted to ask: have you got the vaccine yet? They've changed the age from 50 to 60 of people who are allowed to get the vaccine. How does that make you feel?
Hey, look, I'm probably like a lot of people, didn't rush into it, but we know we got to have it, and I want to have it to travel. So I haven't had it yet, but that's to do with the sort of medical situation that I'm just trying to clear up before, because I'm over 60. So it would be AstraZeneca. So it will happen.
Great. Asking people, if they had $1 million, is there a particular sector or business that they would put that $1 million into, and why?
Probably into the Cornell sector.
Cornell sector? I'm not familiar.
That's my own private bank.
Okay, right, gotcha.
You've caught me completely off guard. I have no idea. I haven't given it a moment's thought because I don't have a spare million.
Switching gears a little bit here, AstraZeneca and Pfizer and a whole bunch of other vaccines are coming out, and of course that's going to affect the financial markets. But they're swapping the age to get it from 50 to 60. How does that make you feel? Have you got the vaccine already?
Yes.
And you have already?
Yeah. First shot.
Would you? So there's a second shot. Are you? When are you planning to get that?
As soon as possible.
Okay, great. But you ultimately think it's a good thing. Everyone should get it. And
the science says it's safe. I don't know any better way of understanding our reality than science. So if they say it's good, that's good enough for me.
Great. All right. Thank you so much.
Okay.
If you had $1 million, what sector or business would you put that $1 million into today?
$1 million? I don't know. I'd probably go housing market. To be honest, yeah. You can never go wrong.
Yeah. Would you buy property, or would you invest in something that has a lot of investment in the property market?
I'd probably go buy a house. Yeah, because I mean, if you can rent it out, why not? You've got a guaranteed income stream.
Great. With the COVID vaccine, now they've rolled out. They're rolling out the vaccine, obviously, but they've said that they're going to change the age from, I believe, 60 to from 50 to 60.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
What does that make you feel about the vaccine? Are you going to get the vaccine? Do you know people that have got the vaccine?
I've already had the vaccine.
You've had it?
Yeah. I had it while I was in the States. So I had the double shot of Pfizer.
Okay.
While I was there. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good for AstraZeneca at all. I mean, all these blood clots are now changing the age. I mean, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah.
When I had the first shot, the only side effect I had, it was like made me tired. The next day, because I had it in the afternoon. The next day I was like completely zonked out. Then I had the second shot, once again. The next day I was completely zonked out, had the shivers, but it was all 24 hours. It was literally all gone within 24 hours.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
So, all vaccined up, and are you able to travel now to anywhere you'd like?
I'm flying out tomorrow, actually. I'm flying back to the US tomorrow, but I mean, I at the moment, I don't think it makes any difference. I mean, some places are saying, well, you can come in if you've had the shots, but I don't think it's made too much difference just yet.
Right.
I think it will in the future as more people get vaccinated, but right now I don't think it makes any difference.
Right. You guys had $1 million today. What sector or business would you put that money into, or would you put it into Bitcoin?
What sector? Nah, I reckon I'd put it in wholly Dogecoin. I reckon just Dogecoin and just meme Bitcoins. I reckon it seems really, it's not volatile at all, and it seems like I reckon I'll get my money back if I spent that $1 million. I'd be making so much more money out of it. Like, yeah, I reckon that sector 100%.
Right. Would you leverage as well?
I don't know what that means, but yeah, sure, 100%. Yeah,
Right.
definitely. I'd 100-fold leverage.
Thank you. Cheers.
Beautiful city of Sydney. How talkative were people today? Everyone's out and about. Everyone's sort of mentioning quite a few things. Let's sort of unpack what they were talking about there. Best sector, if we had $1 million, where would we invest it into? Someone said medical devices. Is that right?
Yep, that seems pretty topical.
Yeah, it seems pretty topical. What sort of company that does medical devices? Promedicus? They're the imaging, obviously imaging, etc.
Would you call Nanosonics a device?
Yeah, I suppose we could. I could do
device,
that.
Infection control equipment. I think there was a pretty classical answers. You know, a few stocks, a few. I'll put it in property, but I love always when you go to cryptocurrency, put it in Dogecoin. If you want your money to triple, quadruple, yep, of course, I agree.
What did they say? I would put it in the holy Dogecoin and just watch it go to the moon. So that's obviously our crypto guys were on there before.
So one thing I thought was kind of funny, like the person was saying that Dogecoin is not very volatile. Like, it's like, I mean, it is true that it hasn't been very volatile maybe the last couple of days, relatively speaking, to the past. But I mean, if you go back to some of the days, like for example, I think it was May 19th, it was fluctuating between 0.23 and 0.43 in one day. And in fact, there was like a dip for more than 30% in less than an hour.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's crazy.
Is that volatile?
It's volatile. So let's talk about something not volatile, because one of the gentlemen there, or gentleman lady said about housing. Guaranteed income stream, never devalues, etc., etc. But of course, that's not entirely the case. Sometimes it does. I think it's more about the fact that there might be better places where you can get a better return. I mean, housing's great. I mean, it's obviously, and they're quite right, lower risk. But there is places that you could potentially get a better return. And housing is the long-term sort of goal. I think also they were talking about investment properties as an investment. That's a big commitment to put an investment property together. And what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, property, of course, always has got the bigger barriers to entry, say, than other asset classes. Crypto's probably got the least of all. Some of the crypto sites.
We did say if you had $1 million, though. So
some of the crypto sites that I know, you can set up an account with giving very little personal information and get up and running straight away. That's the whole idea of a decentralized money system. It's very anonymous, but of course, we're advocates and experts in the stock market, but all markets are the same as each other. There's different securities, all priced differently. So if you can pick up something priced below its true value, then any investment's a good one. And I think the stock market just gives you the more options to do that versus property.
I think that's sort of the married the perfect. I mean, if you've got the extreme volatility of crypto and then you have the relative stability of the housing market, yet you still want to get a bit of growth. I think the share market is a place where you can, because you get involved in things like REITs, which obviously involves a bit of, it's easy to transact, 2 days clearing. I think one of the big problems with having an investment property is you buy it, if you buy it outright, sure, if you buy it outright, that's all good, but then you've got to get someone to manage it and help, and you've got the fees that are associated with it. So I think it's a little bit higher stress, some people may argue. But we had some great talks out on the street today. Now, do you have a stock you've been watching for a while? Is it time to buy, sell, or maybe average in? Why not send us a message and we can ask our panel? In the meantime, let's take a short break. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and we'll be back with our final section of the show.
How do you get the highest returns in the stock market on a consistent basis? Obsessed with this idea, Michael KODARI forms KOSEC, KODARI Securities. He seeks, in his own words, a revolutionary investment strategy based on better information and knowledge. Wealth begins with better knowledge, becomes his motto. He seeks to identify and accurately pick the next top-performing stocks on the ASX. He seeks for consistency. Michael KODARI creates a unique stock market filtering system he names Lotus Blue, named after a flower that blooms just once. Because in investing, timing is everything. See how accurate KOSEC stock picks are. Get a free 7-day access to Lotus Blue today. If you want the KOSEC investment edge, you know what you have to do. Call KOSEC now or visit kosec.com.au and take advantage of the insights he reserves for his clients.
Trust is key to any relationship. Fortunately, it's nothing that can be bought. It's earned. As an investor working with an organisation, they need to demonstrate integrity. They must show consistency, full transparency, accountability. They must be genuine in their approach. Their core values must align with yours. They need to put your interest first. If you are considering investing, work with an organisation that earns and nurtures trust. Work with an organisation you believe in. Work with an organisation that treats you the same way they like to be treated. Join an organisation that views clients as people, not people as clients. If you are considering investing, consider KOSEC KODARI Securities.
As kids, we were active. We were creative. We questioned all things. We celebrated everything. We took risks. We had no limits. We had dreams. Our imagination helped us solve problems and create new possibilities. Albert Einstein once said, "Imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions." We are in an ever-changing world filled with fear and uncertainty. Don't let that change the inner child within. As Walt Disney said, imagination has no age and dreams are forever. KOSEC is here to help build your dreams and create possibilities. Secure your success with KOSEC KODARI Securities.
Welcome back. The moment we've all been waiting for, the final section of the KOSEC Show. So this is what investors are really looking for. We know what oil, gold, and the dollar has done. We know what the top performers for the week were. Now let's find out what our panel is looking at for the week to come. And we will start off with the ever mystic Mr. Louis Mossman. Let us know what you're looking at, why you like it this week.
Yes, of course. Now, another tricky one for you. It's IDP Education Ticker Code IEL. I always get those two mixed up. So they do language education. Now, they operate across 50 countries worldwide, and they've got over 100 different offices as well. So they're very much an international country that obviously teaches people languages, new languages. Most of their operations are online. So that's something that has definitely helped them throughout COVID-19. Even though people might not be traveling, learning new language, moving to new places as much, their services are offered online. So people can definitely still partake in them. They're obviously, as all the companies we track, very financially solid as well. But the broker calls are very interesting to me. There's about 7 or 8 major brokers, all with at least 15 to 25% upside with buy, outperform, and overweight. Buy, outperform, and overweight ratings on that company. But finally, and I wish I could have brought this company when the chart was looking, when I was first looking at it, when I first brought it as an opportunity, is looking exceptional as well. So it's came back down to test its 200-day moving averages. And since then, it's continued to make a series of higher highs and higher lows. Today, it's really jumped out of that pattern, up 3.3% today, and it's pushed that top Dongshin higher. So yes, it looks very attractive. Probably a little bit earlier would have been nice to pick it up, but it does look to close that gap as well between where it is now and its previous highs.
Perfect.
IEL.
So it's IDP Education to code IEL. Dr. Adam Chadakovsky, what are you looking at this week and why do you like it?
So a company I really like is Ansell, so ticker code ANN.
So you're just stealing her idea.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty happy that we just agree.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. We're on the same page.
Yeah, so that's the one I was thinking about. So I was just, so Caroline already mentioned a couple of things, but just to recap. So they are providing safety protection solutions. So most famous for gloves.
Yes.
And so if you go to Kohl's or Wally, Woolworths, you will see gloves and so that's so what I wanted to mention that Caroline hasn't mentioned is, for example, like if you look at the performance, like some numbers. So for example, the earnings over the 2020, that jumped over 50%. So very impressive. Revenue also have been very, very nice over, like if you look, steadily growing over the last 4 years. So the numbers for the fundamentals are very, very positive, but it's really, as Caroline also mentioned, the macroeconomic environment that is really placing this stock in a positive light. So people are just more aware about hydrogen and
of course.
After the pandemic, and this is just great opportunity for Ansell. So it also, like if you look at broker calls. There are 7.
A lot of very encouraging numbers.
Yeah, they are very encouraging. So 5 of them are very positive and 2 are neutral. So a big, very positive uptrend. So up to 20% if you look at the numbers. So, and then finally, let's look at the chart. So the technicals are also very positive, I think. So if you look at the stochastic, it's positively crossed, and the MACD has also just crossed positive. So both strong indicators of good momentum. So overall, I'm also positive for this stock and a believer that this one will be going upwards.
Very good. All right, excellent. Let's go over to the ever wonderful Caroline Wong. Finish us off. What are we looking at in the week to come?
We're looking at Nouvelle Pharmaceuticals.
So you've just stolen it off him. Okay, I see that. So it's just basically just mixed through. That's smart.
Louis is a mastermind.
Yeah.
So it's an ASX 200 company, biopharmaceutical company that specializes in the commercial treatment of rare skin disorders. So it operates in a nice little niche area. So for instance, there is a medical condition called phototoxicity, where individuals such as adults and children, they just cannot be exposed to sunlight. So in the event that they do, they have to wear protective clothing, or otherwise they just stay indoors at all times. So fundamentally, very sound company. Revenues, cash flow, earnings have been increasing steadily for the past 3 years. Although there are no broker calls, I'll make it up for it through the technicals. So if you look at the chart, the stock has recently tumbled about 14%, established a very nice support level at $26.39, highlighted by that yellow line. So since then, it has since rebounded, positive cross stochastic. MACD has also about to cross positive. From now to where it is at the top Dongshin channel is about 8%, and to its all-time high, it's 58%. So a lot of growth potential in that stock.
Brilliant, brilliant. So we've got IDP Education, we've got Ansell, and of course we have Clinuvel Pharmaceuticals. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in this week. On behalf of everyone at the show, I want to wish our clients, friends and colleagues a safe and happy weekend, and we look forward to seeing you next week. My name is Will Brownlee, and this has been the KOSEC Show.